The day after tomorrow, sheets of ice collapsed into the sea as climatologist Jack Hall stood amid the howling winds of Antarctica. His warnings about a coming climate shift had been met with silence and skepticism. But far from being just theory, the changes were unfolding faster than anyone dared to predict. Something was brewing across the globe. Air masses acting erratically, ocean currents grinding to a halt, and temperatures behaving like an untamed beast. In Tokyo, hail the size of baseballs pummeled the streets. New Delhi, known for its sweltering heat, recorded a freak snowstorm. Jack watched satellite images in disbelief as three massive storms formed simultaneously above the northern hemisphere. The jet stream was pulling cold air further south than ever recorded. It wasn't a gradual shift, it was a plunge. Sam, Jack's son, had just arrived in New York for an academic competition. With him were his classmates, Laura and Brian. As they explored the city, a sudden downpour turned into snow within minutes. The weather had flipped the switch. Soon, it wasn't just cold, it was punishing. Visibility dropped. Roads iced over. Cars were abandoned. People tried to make sense of what had become an unrelenting white siege. As panic gripped the city, the trio found temporary safety inside the New York Public Library. They weren't alone. Hundreds flooded into the building for refuge. Sam tried to reach his father. "You need to stay inside," Jack urged over the phone. "Seal up every window. Burn what you can for heat. Do not go outside. This storm will kill you in seconds." His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from the weight of a father realizing what stood between him and his child. Meanwhile, Jack wasn't waiting. With two trusted colleagues, he set off on foot from Washington, D.C., bound for New York through ice-covered terrain. Every step was a war against frostbite and exhaustion. Roads had vanished. Cities lay buried. Helicopters fell from the sky, frozen midair. People who had once ruled over steel and concrete now found themselves helpless against the force of nature itself. Back in the library, tensions mounted. Some wanted to flee. "We'll freeze if we stay," they insisted. But Sam stood firm. He had read the temperature drops. If we leave now, we die out there. With each passing hour, the building grew colder. Books became firewood. Ancient volumes, once protected by scholars, were fed to flames to save lives. Laura developed blood poisoning after rescuing a stranded man. Sam wrapped her in blankets, refusing to let her slip away. The outside world was quiet, not peaceful but buried. Buildings stood like monuments to what had been. Snow swallowed entire skylines. Communication lines fell silent. The storm systems, now monstrous in size, circled their prey, draining heat and bringing death in waves. Entire regions were swallowed by the deep freeze within hours. Jack pushed forward despite the brutal cold tearing through his coat and the sight of frozen corpses reminding him what failure would mean. He trudged over rooftops now level with snow, guided only by sheer will. At last, the New York skyline emerged, half visible through the icy air. And then, the library. Against all odds, they had made it. Inside, Jack found Sam barely standing but alive, his eyes glassy from cold and exhaustion. He pulled his son close. "You made it," Sam breathed. It wasn't triumph, it was survival, hard-earned and fragile. Soon after, helicopters arrived, guided by satellite images showing the cleared air. Survivors were airlifted, and the president's voice came over the emergency broadcast. "We've learned a harsh lesson." From space, Earth looked changed. Ice now covered much of the northern land masses. Survivors emerged to a world reborn by disaster. But even in the quiet aftermath, the message was clear. Nature hadn't just spoken, it had taken the lead.